Good morning, Spain. How lovely to have you with us once again here in our studio at Hard Rock Hotel, Marbella. Today we're going to be traveling and cooking, talking about insurance, answering some of your queries. We're going to be talking about historic fiction, safety as a tourist, and so much more. Stay tuned. Good morning, Spain. Good morning, girls.
Good morning,
We're here all brightly happy and looking forward to enjoying the day. Another sunny day in Spain, and we're delighted that so many of you tourists have come to join us. But like last week, we are going to start off the program with a warning, because I don't think any of us can stress enough the dangers of being unaware when you come on holiday, particularly perhaps for younger people, but not necessarily, because we were talking with Hannah that with strong currents, you have to be careful, talking about children, but her father the other day was only up to his knees, wasn't he, when he got knocked over into the water?
Absolutely. There's been quite a few tragedies recently of children. An 11 and 13-year-old brother and sister sadly lost their lives in the water near Barcelona, and the father was in as well, and thankfully the father survived. But you know, just imagine losing your kids like that. Absolutely horrendous.
They wanted just one last swim before they left.
I mean, and people don't realize how strong the currents are. You know, you might see big crashing waves, but sometimes not necessarily. A lot of the time it's undercurrent, so you can't always tell. And my dad, who's a full-grown man, you know, was out in the sea the other day, and the water was only up to his knees. So, and he's not a strong, confident swimmer, to be honest. But the water was up to his knees. He just went in for a little paddle, and the current sent him over. Literally pushed it.
And it's at that moment
over.
you're upside down, you're under the water,
Yes.
confusion, and then it just takes you out.
Yeah, it can happen so quickly. So it doesn't have to be a little body that it happens to. It can be a full-grown man. So please be careful.
Yeah, the next wave comes and you're all disorientated.
Yeah.
And,
So
Holly, what's the advice if that happens to you being a swim instructor?
I said last week that being up to your knees is quite a safe thing to do, but always just take care and go where there's lifeguards and where you can see there's
exactly.
a
I think this
flag.
is a big one. The lifeguards. We were talking about flags, or quite a few times we've talked about the red flags, the yellow flags, the green flags, the warning flags. Now these flags tend to be where there's a lifeguard seat on the beaches they're preparing for you to swim. So if you look and there isn't a flag, in theory, don't go swimming there because it's not prepared for swimming. Perhaps would be the first one. Go for where there's a lifeguard seat before you start going in the water.
Or head to those areas that like the disabled chairs, like a hoist, something for disabled, where you know it's much calmer. It's more guaranteed to be calm. Yeah,
I'll be honest, often when I go to the beach I don't look for a lifeguard and I don't look for a flag, and I just, you know, go in and
we're not thinking about it.
No, but that's actually a really good point, because there are lifeguards. I don't know if they're on all beaches, but certainly certainly
but
on a lot.
I think if you go along in the sense, because the other day as we talked about this, I was looking out for it. And for example, in a beach along a 2-kilometer stretch, there was one lifeguard post. But then that's where most people were swimming.
Right.
So I suppose that's for
the
a
point
reason.
of,
It's controlled, there's safety, there's someone watching over you.
But I think we've probably all experienced being in the sea, even if it is up to your knees, and feeling and being aware that it's a strong current. You can feel it. You can feel the water going against your body. So if you're in the water and you can feel it's a strong current, maybe come out the water. You know,
your daddy's going to remember that one for next time.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And the other thing we want to quickly mention is, unfortunately, again this summer there have been lives lost of people falling off balconies. Now there are people who fall off balconies, and then there are those who are doing balconying, which is trying to jump or dive into a swimming pool because it looks like it's close enough from your balcony. This is a no-go, because most of them land splatting literally on the floor.
Well, there's a lot of like TikTok and showing people actually glamorizing jumping off a balcony, or
it looks
going
really
down
cool
a
when
slide
it
into a
works,
pool from the balcony.
It's usually when people have had a few drinks as well.
It's so dangerous.
And egged on by your companions. So please, particularly as I say, the younger crowd, or those who are going on hen parties and stag do's, you know, when you can get caught up in it, don't let it catch you. Really, It's too worrying.
Yeah.
And also when you think about proper diving, professional diving from diving boards, the pool is really quite deep.
Yes.
They have the capacity to dive down and then come back up. Most swimming pools aren't
Don't
that
have
deep.
that.
You might have a little sections where it would go above your head, but for the most part you can stand up in the water. So diving or jumping in from a great height, like the science, the physics doesn't match up.
No.
And even if you did manage to get in the pool, you can hit
Exactly.
your head on the bottom so
course.
easily.
And there are as equal, if not more, people who are paraplegic from swimming pool accidents, the motorbike accidents.
Wow.
Those
Yeah.
people diving in. So if you do dive in, and with your kids, I'm sure, they always keep your hands in
Yes.
front of your head. So
Protect
there's
your
always going
head.
to be your fingers or your hands that are touching bottom
Yeah.
first. So
Yeah.
these are little things that we really need to consider.
And even somersaults, if you're not used to it and you're just practicing a one-off somersault, you can actually slip, hit your head on the side and all sorts. So I don't really recommend the somersaults either, because
Just
that
stay
can
safe.
just
Don't
do
be silly.
great dives.
And the last
Even
one.
bombs.
The last one. Don't leave your drinks unattended. If you're having a drink, if you can watch them pour it, it is preferable. And then also make sure that you cover your drink. If you don't leave your friend to watch your drink while you go to the bathroom, take it with you. I can't stress this enough, because there are always people out there that haven't got our best intentions at heart.
Yeah, look out. He's
Yeah.
self-conscious and safe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look after your drink.
it can happen like when you're on the dance floor. If you've all left your drinks somewhere and you
Yeah.
go off on the dance floor, there's normally areas where you can put drinks near a dance floor. So I'm always really conscious of that. If you can put your drinks down there and you're all dancing near where your drinks are, that's obviously loads better than leaving your drinks over at a bar and
Yeah.
going so you can't see them. Always keep trying to be, same with handbags, and don't chuck your handbag down and go off and dance. That whole thing of dancing round
Like we used to dance
handbags,
around a handbag,
do it.
still dance around a
Absolutely.
handbag.
Definitely.
And even when you're having dinner and things like that, like sometimes you put your bag on the table. But if there's a pathway, people can go by, particularly on scooters. They've got this whole new thing. They're just going along the paseo, grabbing bags as they go,
Yeah.
and they're gone.
I think it's just awareness, isn't it? Awareness of everything.
Don't leave your brain on the plane.
Perfect.
Having insurance is very important, I think, every day, more so, covering that eventuality that we're not expecting. Very delighted to welcome to the program the lovely Sam Campbell, who is an insurance fiend. She knows so much. I'm not going to say she knows it all, but you live and breathe insurance. It's lovely, Sam. Welcome to Good Morning Spain.
Thank you so much for inviting me on the show, and lovely to be with you
Morning.
girls.
Well, we have a lot of questions about insurance. It's something that covers all aspects. It's our home, it's our travel, it's our car, it's our pets. I mean, one way or another, let's not break into song again, one way or another, insurance is like that. You can't avoid it. Like
Exactly.
death and taxes and
Yeah.
insurance.
And insurance.
And insurance.
Exactly.
We've been getting questions about insurance, and one of them, let's start off with, if you want to leave something for your children, so you've got a life policy and your sheer objective is, I don't own a property, but how do I leave something for my kids? Is a life insurance policy an option or an alternative?
It is indeed. And a lot of people do actually insure when they've got children specifically. It's really, really easy to do as well. You would just basically say, this is how much I want to insure myself for, because basically you're insuring yourself as a person. You then name the beneficiaries on the insurance policy, and then it's payable on death.
So depending on, I suppose, how much you pay a month would be based on the premium.
Exactly. It's actually worked out on your age and how much money you want, basically. And then the system will auto-calculate how much it's going to be. Then you have the option to pay monthly, quarterly, or annually. Very simple.
And is there inheritance tax on those things?
Not quite sure, I'll be very honest with you, but I can find out.
Okay,
And I'll come back and let
All
you
right,
know.
okay.
I was interested to know, there was talk recently of Ryanair staff going on strike for a ridiculously long amount of time, from August to December, every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is, I mean, ridiculous, quite frankly. I understand the point of strikes, but normally they're a few weeks, but I mean, for that amount of time. And it said, please be aware that if you're flying, there could be delays, there could even be cancellations. And we have a flight coming up in a few months' time with Ryanair, and automatically we're like, oh, how does travel insurance protect you or not in those kind of situations?
So first of all, you have to take out travel insurance.
Yes.
Every time you go on holiday. I cannot stress that enough to anybody.
It always seems like a superfluous.
Oh, honestly, because it's not just the cancellations, which we can talk about, and covering obviously lost luggage. It's your health as well. You know, we read all the time so many awful things that happen when people trip, fall over, end up in hospital. And then they have a GoFundMe basically because they didn't have the travel insurance to cover their medical bills. But going back to what you said, yes. So all travel insurance policies have cancellation sections on them, and they will cover you for cancelled flights, accommodation, etc., etc. There are obviously guidelines as well. So usually I think with aeroplanes it tends to be after 3 hours, then the airline will cancel the flight, and then obviously the insurance can kick in. But also as well, you can claim directly from the airline. So there are various ways to do it, but first and foremost, take travel insurance. Cancellation is covered for things like that. Yes.
Okay, good to know. Really good to know. Because if you'd have to rebook another flight and or cancel one of the night's accommodation if you can't fly until the next day, all those
Because it affects your holiday,
could
your
end up-
hotels,
Exactly.
everything. It's a
And
chain.
it's a
Could end up
chain.
costing
It's a
you
whole
loads-
chain effect.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened when, if you remember the incident that happened at Heathrow Airport, where it all shut down. I had plenty of clients there that were stranded, stuck, couldn't rebook, everything else. So it was a whole chain of events for their trips as well. So always take out travel insurance.
Okay.
And I suppose reading the small print of the contracts is quite important. Is it what you sign up for?
Definitely.
Another question that we're going to is about car insurance. A lot of people have family coming over this time of year. For example, our lovely Audrey. What is the situation with English people or people from other countries coming in and driving a car? Was your car insurance automatically cover them, or do they have to make special requisites because they don't have, say, the Spanish driving permits? But we've had a few questions about this.
Okay, so the main difference with car insurance in Spain is actually the car that's insured and not the person. Okay, so I think in the UK, what we're used to is it's actually the person that's insured. So here the car is generally an open policy, which means anybody can drive the car with the owner's permission as long as they are a minimum of 26 years of age and have held a clean driving license for a minimum of 2 years. There is no upper limit, but there is a minimum limit.
That's interesting. Has to be above 26.
Yeah, all the Spanish insurers, 25, 26 is the average. A couple do 25, but the majority is 26. Yeah.
That's amazing. So people coming over from a different country like the UK that drive on the other side of the road could drive your car?
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting.
If you want them to.
If you let them.
Yeah.
If you let them.
A lot of clients come back and say to me, thank God they're too young, they can't drive the car. I'm like, that's cool. But yeah.
What's the most common things you find people make mistakes in when it comes to insurance?
General insurance or
In general, what are we missing?
gosh, that's a really good question.
Not getting it, I suppose.
Probably not getting it, is the most important thing. A bit like taxes, as you mentioned, really everybody should have it. I think on the car, as I've just mentioned, the car is insured. A lot of people don't realise that, especially coming from the UK. So that is sort of the fundamental thing there. The car is insured. With regards to home insurance, when we insure a home, and I had this conversation with a client recently, we insure the home for the rebuild cost of the property, not for the actual cost of the property. So if you buy an apartment for, let's just say, 450,000 euros, the system will automatically calculate rebuild based on your postcode, how old the property is, and the meters squared. So it can be as little as, say, 120,000 or maybe as much as 250,000. Wow. And then people worry about that short gap, but that's what we do. We do for the rebuild.
And what about contents insurance? So if people get burgled and things like that, contents is separate to house insurance, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you've got things of greater value, does that make a difference when you're insuring content?
Yeah, so the definition of a content, this is the easiest way for me to explain it. If you turned your apartment upside down, everything that falls on the floor is a content, everything. So that's why you have to remember to do your bedding and your crockery and your teaspoons and literally everything. Everything that is fixed is part of the building. So that would be your kitchen, that would be your bathrooms, that would be anything that's fitted on that side. And again, Spain is slightly different to the UK if we're sort of comparing UK markets. High value items, anything usually over €6,000, you have to itemize. So you have to tell your insurance broker. If you have, a lot of people obviously now are investing in watches, handbags, those kind of things. Very limited cover in Spain for things like that.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you ever so much.
My pleasure.
We have all
Thank you
learned
for inviting
something.
me. It's been lovely. Thank you.
And now join me as we fly off to Euskadi, the Basque Country. I did my exchange when I was learning Spanish there with a lovely young girl and her family, Maria Blanca Ruiz de Larinaga, Ruiz de Ocenda. And I have very fond memories of my stays there and just loved the food, the people, the atmosphere, just everything. So well worth a visit. When you think of car or motorbike insurance, think Linea Directa. When you most need your insurance company, Linea Directa are there for you. With tow trucks, courtesy car, mechanics, legal advice, even overnight stay in a hotel if you need it. There's a whole department dedicated to us Brits with people who speak English there to help us. If you're looking for an insurance policy that really takes all your needs into consideration whilst you're driving in Spain, then Linea Directa really is the company for you. Why don't you give them a call? 952 14 78 34 or contact them online.
Okay, so good morning. And today we're going to use some resistance bands. And I'm here with the lovely Holly and the lovely Sam, who have no idea what's going to happen next. So just one advantage of using a band is they're so lightweight. Yeah, as you can feel. They're really cheap to buy. You get them in a big roll, you cut them whatever length you want, and they're fantastic for traveling away with, because you can just throw them in your suitcase and you can actually exercise and tone up every single muscle in your body just using this band and a good will, okay? So, resistance band. So first of all, just hold the band in your hand like this. Now, obviously you're meant to really do a bit of a warm up and a stretch before you do it, because we're not going to spend, we've already done them in previous videos, so don't assume if anything happens to you, okay? So just roll the shoulders back just to get a little bit of energy into the arms. Good. Now bend your knees a little bit, put the band like I am, kind of shoulder distance apart, I'm going to step forward so we don't touch each other. Inhale, exhale, and pull the band towards you. Well done, Holly's very strong. That's okay, Holly. Just maybe like a little bit wider. That's okay. Ready? Out and in. Just a little bit of a pull. Out and in. Exhale, inhale. Let's do 6, 5, breathing. 4, perfect. 3, good. 2, 1. Now you take the bigger band, Holly.
Thank you.
So grab the band and put it around your back like this, like so. Hold it kind of near the end. Bend your knees, tummy in. Band is across your back and exhale and push the band forward. So make sure it's enough that's a resistance, but not too hard, okay? Inhale, exhale, push, back. Good. Come on, let's do 8. Smile, breathing out as you go forward. That's it. 4 more, 3 more, 2 more, 1 more. Good. Now take the band. I know it's good, isn't it? Take the band. Sorry, and also you can do this wearing any clothes. None of us are wearing particularly sporty things today, but so put your foot on the band like that. Take a little step back with the opposite leg. Bend your knees. Point your elbows up towards the ceiling, chest up. Inhale. Exhale, lift the elbows up. That's it. Use your breath. Perfect. Come on, let's go. Good, Holly. Get those elbows high. Nice, Sam. Get the elbows up nice and high. There we go. Come on for 6. Can you feel it? It's for the muscles in your shoulders, Samantha. Good girl. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. And relax. Now, when you're at home, you can also use anything around you. So, for example, Holly, we're going to get your band, Sam. Wrap it in like this. Squat. Pull. Okay, so you go in there. Wrap it around. Get rid of that one. Kind of wrap it around your, that's okay, yours is small, so maybe not too much. You ready? Bend your knees, and you're gonna sit back into a squat and pull. So it's like pull, pull back. There we go, look at that. Come on, should we do 10? Pull. 9, come on. Get the bum down low. Last 5. 4 more. That's it. 2. Now hold it down here and just move your arms left and right. Get your bum down nice and low. Come on. Using your arms and your legs. Keep going for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get the band back again. Come back into your place. We'll do 2 more exercises. So, triceps, us ladies, these backs of the arms, okay? Take your, I'm going to stand in front as you can see. Take your band like this. Hold it in your opposite hand. Point your elbow up towards the ceiling and push up. Exhale as you lift up. Bend your knees and breathe. Works the bingo wings, the triceps. Come on, push. Let's do 5 more this side. 4, 3 more, 2 more. Hold it up here and pulse it for 5, nice and high. 4, 3, 2, 1. Can you feel the burn? Now what you do on one side, you have to do on the other because we have to balance it out. So to the other side, I have a bit of a sore shoulder this side, so I won't do too much, but you girls can do it, okay? So in position, let's have a look at you. And exhale. That's it, Sam. Keep your elbow pointing up towards the ceiling and use your breath. Well done. Tummy in. Exhale as you go high. 5 more. Perfect. 4. Smiling. 2. Hold it up and little pulses. Come on for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Can you feel it working?
Oh, definitely.
So they're amazing, simple, lightweight, carry in your suitcase, and they're so much fun. Enjoy.
Delighted to welcome back to the programme Author Joan Fallon just happens to be one of my favourite authors, so very blessed that you come in. It's like my own little superstar coming in the studio. Kate, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Delighted we're going to be talking about historical fiction. Hannah's going to give us a nice little summary of that, but how wonderful, as Joan writes historical fiction as well, to have you part of the chat.
Thank you very much. Lovely.
Sitting here like being.
That's so nice.
It's like you going to J-Lo and the other things, and I'm like, just
That's lovely.
So cute.
I mean, the great thing about historical fiction is, like the last few weeks I've been talking about crime and romance, and both of those things can come into historical fiction, because when you're talking about that as a genre, that basically means anything that's set back in time. So obviously you can include romance in that, you can include war in that. There's so many different subjects that can come into that. So if you're interested in learning about the Second World War, for example, instead of reading a non-fiction history heavy academic book about the Second World War, which could be hard going, if you read a fictional story that's set in the Second World War, you can be entertained getting a romance story if that's what you like, or a story about crime and murder that's set during a time period, and you can learn something about that time period whilst being
funny
entertained.
You should say that, because Joan actually has a book set in World War II on historical fiction.
Yeah,
But does historical fiction mean you can make it all up? Maybe even actual facts about the war, or is it meant to be just a fictitious story set in real facts, Joan?
Well, speaking for myself, I like the history to be as exact as possible. It depends. Something like World War II, there's loads of material, so you've got no excuse for getting things wrong. But like you say, you know, people have got to be really challenged if they sit down and read a history book. Whereas if it's a novel and you've got characters who are living in that time, it brings it alive to you, and it becomes more interesting.
Which book have you written on which one is yours is for the Second World War?
This is, it's actually, it touches on the Second World War, but it touches on something that we don't think about, which is the children. And this is about 3 children who, during the Blitz, their house was destroyed. Their mother was in hospital having a 4th child, and they ended up being considered to be orphans because they'd wandered into a church looking for some help, and as such at the time they were sending children to the colonies, to Australia, to Canada, and to South Africa rather. This had been going on for about 100 years, sending children to the colonies, and so it was no sort of new thing. But when the mother came out of hospital, she couldn't find them. There was no trace of them. So she spent years looking for them. And this is all based, it's fiction. The 3 children never existed, neither did their mother, but very similar people did. And I discovered about this once reading a magazine in a waiting room at a dentist, I think. And it said how a woman called Margaret Humphreys, who was a social worker, was approached one day by a woman who said she was trying to find her parents. And this was in the 80s, or maybe the 90s. And so she then realized, the social worker realized for the very first time, that these children had been sent as child migrants, they were called, to various various institutions, and really forgotten, grown up. They didn't know who they were or where they were from. So it was quite a traumatic discovery. And as usual, I thought, oh, that will make a good book.
Yeah. I was going to ask where you got your inspiration from, but there you go, just from reading an article, and you get The Only Blue Door as a result.
And so it is set in the Second World War, but it isn't about, it's about the Blitz. It's not about the fighting so much.
What's so fascinating with a subject like the Second World War, you'd think that after all these years, there's been so many books, TV series, films that have been set in the Second World War, you'd kind of think that it's all been done and it's all been covered. But it absolutely hasn't.
No.
You know, you come across these little stories and think, my goodness, I never knew that.
Yeah.
So it can be a great basis for a book or a film or whatever. It's amazing, you know. I mean, it lasted, you know, 4 years. But at the same time, in that time, it wasn't just about the fighting. It was about the people, the families that were stuck at home. It was what happened to the children. I mean, there's the love stories that happen.
Yeah.
There's so many different aspects. And most people are fascinated in history, particularly the wars and the incredible effect that had on the world. And so therefore it's the basis for all kinds of really fascinating stories. So you can read a book with a great story like that and also learn a little bit about what was happening to certain people during that time in history. It's a fabulous way of learning and being entertained at the same time.
But also, people have, well, Granddad was in the war, or Uncle so-and-so was in the war, and we don't really know what happened to him. But very often people came back from the war and they didn't want to talk about it. So people have got personal contacts when we talk about World War II.
You also like writing about settings in Spain, and I find that very intriguing because, for example, I hate reading books, not hate, it's a strong word, but if there's a book with a lot of description, as soon as I get to the dark room with the deep mahogany chest of drawers, I'm skimming, where does it stop? Where does this barrage of adjectives end? And for example, in your books, you're very descriptive, but it's not description. So you find that you know exactly the setting, where you are, you've got the feeling, but you haven't got this
a big description
listed to adjectives. But in your, for example, I say Jacaranda Dunne, but in the Jacaranda Dunne investigative series, I love the ones that are set in with the cloisters, with the priests, and where they're doing the processions from, and you're getting a good feel of the city where they live in. But you've also now got an historical fiction set in Spain book as well.
Yes, well, this was written some time ago, and again, it was an inspiration because I went to an exhibition outside Cordoba 20 years ago, and I was just fascinated with a place called Minute.Safety, which is ruins, but they have a lovely display of what it was like before. You've got all these ruins, loads of things in the museum, and so I got quite fascinated with this and thought, we're in Spain, we're in Andalusia, we have all these beautiful, this beautiful architecture around us. I'm going to learn a bit more about it because I didn't know anything, zilch. And I thought, and that's what I did. The other thing about historical fiction, which I'm sure you realise, Hannah, is to do it properly, it takes a long time to do the investigation.
Do you do all your research yourself?
Yes.
You don't have a Stephen King or those people out
No.
there. Team of people getting it all together for you.
No, I'm very, very, very envious of that part. But having said that, I do enjoy the research. So to write this book took a year, and the first 6 months was research.
Wow, that's incredible.
And then I start writing, but when you write, you then have to go back and research a bit more.
It's so important, isn't
it?
Because you'll always have someone reading your book who might know more about the subject than you do.
Yeah.
You might have a World War II historian who says, oh, fabulous, I'll be interested in this book set in World War II. And they'll be reading going, what, that never happened. No, that couldn't have happened. And they'll rip it apart and they'll contact the author and say, oh, there's mistakes. So you've got to get it right. And most authors will obviously take pride in getting it right.
So there's nothing to do like The Crown on TV, because there's so many things there. That's historical fiction. But for me, I think there's more fiction than history, perhaps. Because who knows what conversations are going on behind
it's the
closed
conversations
doors.
that nobody
So if you've got fictional characters, it's one thing, but when you're doing
right.
historical fiction based on real people.
Yes.
That's kind of a confusing, I think.
And that happens a lot. You know, there's a lot of books written about the Tudors, for example, Henry VIII, and people that are way back, you know, centuries back in history. And people don't know the conversations that Henry VIII had with all his wives. So if you've got a book set in that period of history, you can learn a little bit about the time. But yes, those conversations are likely to be made up.
It must be quite interesting for you as well, though, as you say, to do the research, but then to write, obviously then go on and write your books, because then it feels like you are really involved, like in every single aspect.
Absolutely. Yes, well, if it's something like that with a very rich history, loads of details, you've got to sort of immerse yourself in it in order to be there with the characters. That's really what it comes down to. Although a writer does tend to get a bit immersed in with her characters as it is.
I can imagine.
How do you relate to Jacaranda Dunne? What is she to you in your family of characters?
Yes, she's quite important actually, and it's a question of keeping her not being too snappy and keeping her on the. At times, I want to say something really sharp and snappy, and I think no, let's smooth it down a bit.
When you've been writing about the same character for a number of years, you must feel like they're real sometimes. You know, feel like you really know.
I feel like I know her.
Exactly.
It's weird, isn't it, how you can relate to a fictional character. But I very much realise I'm always like, Joe, when's the next one coming out?
Well, you're reading about, you could be, Jacaranda. Like you're chatting to a friend. Oh, Jacaranda, what did you do that for?
Come on.
I think the book 4 got left a bit like that, in that there was a couple of unresolved.
Yes, and like it's a need to know now. And the first 3 were very like self-contained, and each story was the end of its story. But the end of Too Close to the Sun is like, okay, when's the next one?
That's great.
Nice.
It's really good, and how lovely to have such an amazing author that's like just so local and so willing to come and join us. And
very happy to be here.
You're so busy, and you have such a fabulous. How do we get your books? Where are you on sale?
They're in bookshop. Go into a bookshop in Malaga, for example, you might not find them on the shelf, but if you ask for them, they can get them.
In fact, if you go to any bookshop and ask for it, that would help, because then they will also get the books in. If you are requesting a Joan Fallon book, then they will probably get it for you. So everyone go and request Joan Fallon books. You will not be sorry.
Nice.
Good idea.
Exactly. Create a demand.
Exactly.
We only don't have more sales because more people don't know about you, and that's just a question of sharing information. And I say for me, such an easy read, but interesting, because you do feel, even in like say with the made-up investigator, you base it on real places, you give real facts, real situations.
And I think it's nice for those of us lucky enough to live in this beautiful country, or people that come to Spain regularly on holiday, to read books, great stories that are set in Spain is lovely. To be able to learn and understand more about the culture and the place that we live is great.
And the different, and the food and the way that the police behave, for example. Because Jacaranda is Metropolitan Police in England, now in Spain, private investigator. But as I say, even the way the police works, everything. I mean, I've lived here for over 40 years. You know. Do you know what I mean? You can see, you actually know this, and the way you share it, I think, is enriching for many people.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any last words for our viewers?
The only thing I'd say was a comment that you made earlier about you've spoken about crime fiction, you've spoken about romance, and now about historical fiction. But that's what I started writing. I started writing women's fiction. And then I moved on to historical fiction, then I moved on to crime fiction, which has been quite recent. But I've just really realised that most of the books have got some of that in everything. They've all got women that are quite strong. And there's very often a crime going on, not so much in the Only Blue Door, because that's a crime in itself.
Yeah.
But yes, so these things
They can cross over.
Yeah, we put them into genres, but in actual fact, a good read has got
Something
a bit
for
of
everything.
Good read, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Fallon. Something for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
This segment is sponsored by X-Crom lenses and contact lenses. Linea Directa has come up with a squatter policy for just €24 a year. You don't have to have your home insurance with them. This is a completely separate matter to protect you from squatters. For more information, call 952 147834 or their website, Linea.Directa.com.
Turista maitea. I live in a place where gastronomy is culture, and culture is identity. Euskadi is still written without a hashtag, and experience without filters. Here, green is green, and blue is blue. I want you to know that I'm waiting for you with open arms and an open mind. I'll respect your beliefs, culture, and identity. I'll show you how to speak with a glance and observe with your words. In exchange, I'd like to ask that when you visit Euskadi, you respect my culture and my neighbors. Look after the land and the sea so they will continue to be those postcards in which I live. See you soon.
And now let's go over to the Good Morning Spain kitchen at the Food Room to meet up with Chef Nick.
Hello and good morning Spain. Today we're going to be making patatas a lo pobre, or poor man's potatoes. But let me tell you, these potatoes are far from poor. So really simple ingredients, we can make something really special. So we've got some potatoes, some peppers, onion, garlic, bay leaves, salt and pepper, bit of stock and some oil. This is going to be something special. So 2 pans on, one with some olive oil in, that's I'm going to poach the potatoes in. Another pan on, medium heat, and that's where we're going to make the magic happen. So let's get cracking straight away. Let's peel these potatoes and get them into the oil. And meanwhile, while they're frying, we'll get frying those onions and peppers and garlic. So give these potatoes a peel. And then we'll give them a slice. Perfect. Okay, so we're looking for some nice thinly sliced, all very even if we can. Take your time with this. You could put it through a mandolin if you wanted to, but I find the knife's a lot better. Okay, so let's check that oil's hot enough. Just throw one chip in. We can hear that sizzle straight away, so that's a good sign. Remember, when we put the potatoes in, the oil is going to come down in temperature. So we just want to keep an eye on the strength that we've got our oil on. So just spreading these potatoes round into the oil. We want to poach these, so we don't want to get colour onto them. So we want to keep a real careful eye on this oil, not to get too hot. Also, we don't want to be putting it in when the oil's cold, because that will suck up, the potatoes will suck up all that cold oil, and we'll get some really greasy potatoes later. So keeping an eye on those potatoes, keeping an eye on the temperature, giving them a little moving around now and again. Let's get into our onion. Top and tail this. Little slice down the skin and peel. Okay, again we're going to go for nice thin slices here. So in half, and then just let the knife do the work. Really sharp knife helps with this. Take your time all the way down until you're feeling a bit nervous, and then flip the onion over. Let's check this pan is hot enough. We want to hear that sizzle. Perfect. So just split those onions up. Let's get some seasoning in there to help it along. A bit of salt and a bit of pepper. Perfect. So we're going to throw in a couple of bay leaves. And we're going to chop up some garlic and add that to this too. Let's sweat these onions out. I just want nice thin slices of garlic here. You could chop them up finely if you don't like that texture of pieces of garlic. Straight in. So keeping an eye on these potatoes now, adjusting the heat. I want them still to be bubbling away. We just want them to be soft to the touch. Okay, let's get ready with our pepper now. Just going down one of the four sides. And then you can see inside and you can just work your way around. Taking out these white pieces. And then we're going to just go for some nice slices with this too. Now you could use any colour pepper. This is the great thing about this dish. You could just throw in all sorts just to finish up bits that you've got lying around. That is the idea of this dish, to use up bits. Okay, now we really want to cook these onions out. We don't want them to be crunchy. So take your time with this, keep them moving, keep an eye on your potatoes. You want them nice and soft to the touch. Again, just keep looking at the oil. Use your tongs, you can feel that they're still hard. Just give them a move around for some nice even cooking. This should take about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so I've got to the point now that my potatoes are starting to get nice and soft. When I pick them up, I can give them a squeeze and they are cooked. So I'm just going to take them off the heat, and I'm going to just take the potatoes and put them in a strainer just to get rid of that excess oil. Okay, so nice soft onions. Going to whack in my peppers now as well. Give that a good move around. Just want to introduce a little bit more flavour here, so I'm just going to go in with a little bit of sweet paprika. And we're going to give that a splash of white wine. Give that a move around first, activate that dried spice. Okay, so let's add those potatoes in. They've got nice drained off now. Just going to add a little splash of white wine. And a little bit of stock. You could use vegetable stock. I've gone with chicken stock here. Just want that to come up to the boil and let that all soak up. We've added a lot of ingredients, so we're going to have to re-season. And a bit of salt. Okay, let's give this a couple of minutes just for all those flavours to come together and that water just to reduce and stock just to reduce. And we're ready to plate up. Okay, so those sauce has all been sucked up. There we are, just about ready to plate up. Now, this is a fantastic dish on the side, but if you wanted to have it just by itself, you could have a couple of fried eggs on top. So I've got the same pan that I've had the potatoes in. I've left a little bit of oil in there. I'm just going to do a fried egg to put on top. A bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. So let's plate up while that egg is cooking. I've got this lovely potatoes and peppers all ready to go. I like to finish this off just with a little sprinkle of parsley. Let's get that on top. Finish that egg off. You're ready to go. Now, you could flip this egg, you could do what you like with it. I like a nice runny yolk, so just going to give it a little push. Beautiful. Finish this off, a little bit of parsley on top. We are ready to go. Thank you very much, and this is my patatas a la pobre. Let's get into the best bit now. I like to get that egg all over everything. Smell is fantastic. Just cooking potatoes in oil, good olive oil makes such a difference. Delicious. Thanks very much and good morning.
Linea Directa appreciates just how important our pets are to us, and that's why they brought out one of the most comprehensive insurance policies on the market from just €39.90 a year. Give them a call on 952 147834 or from the website Linea.Directa.com. It's time to get wet. With Holly. We're going to the pool. Why? Because Holly's going to give us a few tips to get familiar with water in general, floating, based on how we started the programme. With really, we never can be prepared enough, can we, just for that unexpected eventuality.
Yeah, it's nice to get comfortable in the water and confidence and just start to familiarise yourself with water. If you've not had much experience, it's nice to just get your feet in, get your body in. I'm going to be showing you that today, getting just fresh and just feeling like one with the water, first of all. So you're respecting the water. You know it's dangerous, but you can enjoy it too. So let's go there. Let's not fear it so much. Let's start having this beautiful feeling with the water on our bodies and floating. Floating's such a great skill to learn, because then if you're ever in an emergency, you fall off a boat or you fall into the deep end of the pool, you can chill out because you've learned how to do it in the shallow end.
I'll never forget my granddad saying to me from a really young age, if you're ever in a difficult situation in water, don't panic, just float. It's really, really important. And once you know how to do it, it can calm you down. It's,
And it gives you a few minutes to
really
rest.
important to learn.
Exactly.
Instead of being out of breath and panicking in the water and using all your energy, if you can try and stay calm, breathe and float, that can be key.
And that comes from practice in the shallow end and just having your ears in the water and noticing when the water's in your ears, it's not such an awful thing. It's actually quite nice. Just listen to the noises, have that sensation and find that it's that peaceful point. And actually usually men, their bodies sink a lot, so they might only have their heads out of the water, so to just get comfortable with that. So when you've had your practice in the shallow end, then you know what it's like in the sea or in the deep end. And we can practice faces in the water and what that feels like. It doesn't have to be an emergency. You're not going to suck up the water. You can practice holding your breath and you can practice blowing gentle bubbles or fast bubbles, whatever you prefer. But you've got to have a practice so that you know what it feels like, fast, slow, nothing, no bubbles at all. But if you're wanting to learn to swim, bubbles is essential because in any exercise, you're not going to hold your breath. You're going to, it's learning to breathe, a natural breath. So
wonderful. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
We hope you found the programme informative and fun. Do go along to our website, goodmorningspain.com, for links to topics discussed in the program with more information, links to our YouTube channel, our social media, and lots more to keep you entertained till our next program next week. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you again very soon. Bye.